Welcome back to another episode of Becoming Trusted by Your Teenager. What does that mean when you are trusted by your teenager? That means your teen trusts you. That means they feel emotionally safe with you. And the reason why you want that to happen is so that they will feel comfortable talking to you about anything and that they will actually listen to the advice that you have to give. Because I know you got so much wisdom to offer your teenager, and if they would only just listen, right? So I'm in a chat today. I actually did a little question. This is my phone. I did a question survey on Instagram recently, and I said, hey, what's going on with your teenager? I like to hear exactly what's going on. So I'm going to make some podcast episodes. And I got so many messages. I got several months worth of content now, but I'm reading through a couple of them. Let me just read it through a couple that I'll share about in the future. The one I'm going to talk about today is confidence, though. Lack of self-confidence. That is a huge question mark for many parents. And I feel like I'm trying to remember if I did a podcast about it. I honestly can't even remember. So it's a good time to do it. I did a workshop on confidence last year that was a full hour. So if you want more, send me a message and I'll see how I can get that workshop to you. But I actually also have created confidence cards. So they're digital conversation cards, and they're 50 different scenarios where you bring it up to your teenager. The thing that's tricky about confidence is you cannot infuse confidence in your teenager, and you can't compliment them into confidence. And I think that's tricky for a lot of parents because they think, oh, I'll just say, oh, you're awesome, or you're amazing, or you're so smart, or you're so beautiful. And you think that that's going to give them confidence. That's not necessarily the case. You can still compliment them. It's tricky because you don't want to label them, right? You don't want to compliment so much how smart they are that when they when they fail a class or fail a test or something, that their confidence actually dips because they think, oh no, I'm the smart one. I have this expectation to uphold. So it's tricky because you don't want to over label them, right? And then even like beautiful, I feel like that's something that for so long we've kind of known, at least for girls, like they're compliment on their beauty. And then now it comes out, no, you actually don't want to over compliment on their beauty, because then they're going to be so concerned about that. And they're going to think that that's all that they, have. So really complimenting, you want to diversify as much as possible and not say you are beautiful or you are smart, but saying like, oh, that looks lovely on you. Or, what a great, that's so great that you did so great on that test. Or, if there's street smarts, like, oh, wow, you've really got some street smarts, so not just saying you are this, but, complimenting like the action of what they did. And that is a way to help build confidence. But it's tricky, right? As a parent, because like I said, we'd all love to be able to infuse confidence, and that's not possible. So I created these consider this conversation cards, and I'll link them in the notes. But what they really are is like, hey, let's have a conversation about something that is potentially confidence breaking. And like, let's talk about it. And I believe that when you talk about future things that are confidence building, in fact, I should pull up one of these conversation cards. But when you have the opportunity to talk about them, then they start to picture themselves in the future and feel the confidence that, oh, because I talked about this and because I kind of pre-planned what I think I might do, it helps build a confidence in the moment for when it could come up in the future. So I'm not gonna try and pull up the cards because I'm not 100% sure where they are on my phone. I mean, I do know where they are on my phone, but I try to do this in 10 minutes or less, and so it can be tricky. But I think I know exactly where they are. So I'm going to pull one up. Oh yeah, confidence cards. Consider this cards, and I actually have 3 sets of these cards. Phone etiquette, confidence building, and dating. Those are 3 things that I feel like are the big 3. And so there's actually a way that you can get them bundled too. So I'll see if I can find it. So one of these confidence cards, walking alone. Okay. I will say that my girls get a little bit nervous walking alone, and they kind of worry about what's around them. So here's a scenario. So on this card, I'm showing it on YouTube, but on the podcast, you can't see. I just started filming my podcast, both audio and a video on YouTube for those that like to watch YouTube. So walking alone, you're afraid to, so here's the scenario that it puts out. You're afraid to walk to your friend's house 5 blocks away because you're afraid of stranger danger, even though you live in a safe neighborhood. Share your thoughts on this. So this is an opportunity for you to get inside of your teenager's brain. Like, hey, this happens to some people. Is this something that you experience? Potentially boys will say, no, that doesn't make me nervous at all. And I'm not a big fan into the whole gender stereotyping, but I do think that boys feel safer, and there's a reason for that. And then on the back, it says, you see, flip the card digitally to the back. It says, consider this. So you wait to hear what your teenager says. They might say yes, they might say no. Like, okay, tell me more about that. I'm curious. Tell me more about that. If you can get that question in any conversation that you do, I'm curious, tell me more. Gives them the opportunity to share their thoughts, and you just, okay, oh, interesting. Oh, yeah. Short, quick answers as you listen. And then the back of the card says, consider this. It's easier to take a gamble because it's new, and and even if you don't love what you order, see, this is why I should have done this in advance. It's the wrong back of the card. It's easier to take a gamble than what you do. Oh my gosh. Oh, here it is. It stings to feel this way. You're not alone in having an insecurity. It's the wrong back of the card. Oh my goodness. See, this is where the problem is I didn't plan ahead. I like to just go off the cuff. So some of the, basically you're saying, consider this, like, yes, the world is a scary place to live. And I want you to be armed and not feel worried about everything, and so you can arm them with, we actually did a self-defense class with my girls, and they run and they have mace with them. So that helps them have a little bit more confidence in just concerning scenarios that potentially could be all around them. Yeah, the problem is that this is currently out of order on my phone. So another scenario is, you've always felt insecure about your nose. It feels larger than most, and you feel awkward talking to people. Now, if you know that your child has this insecurity, don't maybe bring something up, but just bringing up, they have insecurities about physical appearance. A scenario is, can we do that later? Your friend asks you to come hang out, but you have a ton of homework. You don't want to be rude and say no because that was really nice of them to ask you and don't want to hurt their feelings. How do you respond? So it's just an opportunity to have them say, this is how I'd respond. And then you read the back of the card, and it's not you offering advice, it's the card giving advice and saying, consider this. And it really just opens up the discussion to be able to talk about it more. One of the other things that I like to do, which seems silly, is, like, teenagers are very easily embarrassed. And I don't think you have to force them to overcome it. It definitely happens over time that they will overcome it. But in the moment, it might feel a little frustrating. If you want to build their confidence, say, hey, let's go to Taco Bell and order a hamburger. And they might say, no way. And I actually made a video with myself doing this with my daughter about a year ago. And it was funny. And it just gives a lighthearted way of saying, of helping to push through what might feel uncomfortable. And so confidence building, while it is tricky to know how to navigate it, like I said, you can infuse it, but you can present different scenarios for them to consider. And when they can think about it in advance, like the friend, like, it's hard to say no. Yes, it's hard to say no to your friend because you want them to ask again, and, like, help them to think through the process. Like, is it possible for you to still do your homework and go see your friend? Or is this a time where you need to just say, I can't do it tonight? And so, and there's confidence. Friends is a huge thing. Confidence in dating, just confidence in themselves. I've heard a lot of parents say, my teenager doesn't want to ask anyone to the dance or doesn't want to date. Been there, done that. And while it is heartbreaking, it's really important as a parent to remember. It's really important to remember that time, just because they're not confident in this moment, doesn't mean that in a year they're not going to be, doesn't mean in 5 years they're not going to be. You need to allow yourself to be uncomfortable in this situation, that you can't fix everything, because when you try to fix things, like if they have a fight with their friend, yeah, it's going to be a bummer in the moment. And you can say, hey, do you want to hear some of my thoughts or advice about it? This is an opportunity to build trust. And if they're like, no, okay, well, let me know if you change your mind. Instead of just telling them what to do, actually breaks their confidence. Little known fact. So if you can have the opportunity to say, let me know how I can support you, I have confidence in you, saying things like that help build their confidence and not stepping in and trying fixing everything. Kind of funny how you helping and fixing actually breaks their confidence. So think about that. If you're interested in the confidence card scenarios, I did not do a great job of reading them on the fly, but like I said, it's a bunch of scenarios, opportunities to discuss, things to consider so that they can pre-plan in the future. A lot of things that seem scary in the future, if they can think through it and talk through it in advance, even if it never happens, it will give them confidence to a lot of other things in life. That's the end of this episode. Thanks for being here. I always love to hear from you. Let me know if you have any questions. I would love, 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 love if you could leave a review. I haven't had a review in several years because I had a break from this podcast. So if you're feeling generous, leave a little review, share your thoughts. I would be grateful. Have a good day.